Good morning, everyone. Assalamu alaikum and namaskar. Sorry for being late. I was traveling and reached this destination only now. Uh, I think it's the third consecutive year that been a part of this academic initiative, and I must say that sustaining such an academic initiative itself is a big task, and I must congratulate the organizers and the brain behind this initiative for for conducting this and inviting experts from the field of health professions education. To do justice to the theme of this virtual conference, I had selected a topic that probably is going to be important for many of us in the days to come, and some of them are already into it, I believe. It's about digital leadership beyond LMS, learning management systems, and toolkits. I would say that this digital transformation in health professions education is no longer a futuristic buzzword as it used to be when many of us started our career. It is a reality that is shaping our teaching, learning, and assessment environments today. What used to be a very small niche that probably identified a few assessment related issues, from there, it has grown into humongous proportions that actually decides the design, delivery, development, evaluation, and whatever you say in education has been attributed to this digital transformation. Educators must blend this experience, curiosity, and adaptation. And the journey ahead is not merely for adopting technology, which we almost many of us have done. It's about learning a paradigm shift that fundamentally recast health professions or dental education, to be precise, in the context of this conference. Now, when you define digital leadership, it is basically the strategic use of digital assets, technologies, not to forget the mindsets too. It is also the strategic use of mindsets to achieve the organizational goals that you have. And how do you actually drive a change that is transformational in this context? So it is not merely using digital tools. That's what I'm trying to convey today. Digital leadership must be seen as a management philosophy that will enable people to navigate complex and rapidly changing environments through innovation, collaboration, and adaptability. Interestingly, many of us as educationists have used this quote left, right, and center, but I think it has become so vital, so important and significant to quote Alvin Toffler again in the context of digital transformation. As you all are aware, probably, of the futurist Alvin Toffler, the famous writer, and he said the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Now, this powerful idea reframes what it means to be literate in our era of constant innovation. The question for us as digital leaders is not just what we know, but how quickly we can update what we know and how quickly we can adapt, how willing we are to challenge these old habits, let go of assumptions, and embrace new practices. So I think it's very significant in today's context to bring back Alvin Toffler and to say to bring the paradigms of unlearning and relearning. It becomes very vital. With that, I would probably highlight the most important aspect as we would like to, highlight in today's plenary or today's keynote. It's about bridging the gap between the traditional and strategical digital leadership. It is not that we didn't have technological advancement. It is not that we did not embrace technological advancement, but most of the time, the digital initiatives, if you look in education, or health professions education, or dental education for that matter, was focused only on operational tasks, updating the learning management systems, managing a software, distributing digital content. It was all based on that. However, if you really want to effect a true change, it has to be sorry, it has to be in the context of a strategic systemic leadership that must be in place. So it is about a true change, and the digital engagement that we are talking about must evolve into a strategic imperative, as I have mentioned here, which must be woven into the fabric of institutional governance. And this is akin to moving from treating the symptoms to addressing the root cause of an ailment. As you are all health professionals, you understand this better. So it is, leadership must ensure that these efforts will shape the policy, shape the educational culture and climate of your organization, and of course, tangible outcomes to be produced. So, this driving change through digital transformation is what we look in terms of the current digital leaders, as we talk about. No, so there is a need to redefine digital leadership in the health professions education, especially in the context of Indian scenarios. So this is what I would like to bring in. The first is to bridge the gap between the traditional and strategic digital leaderships, and obviously from operational management to a strategic imperative where we embrace it and we also drive change through digital transformation. Now, it's all the more complex when it comes to, I put it, DILPE. DILPE obviously is an, it's an acronym, sounds very native and desi. DILPE is Digital Leadership in Health Professions Education. I've coined it, you don't have it anywhere. Of course, you can use it, there's no copyright issues. DILPE is it's basically the digital leadership in health professions education. This is very complex. It's not like, as you see for any other forms of education. Every forms of education comes with its own complexities, I do agree, but it is more complex, critical and complex area, because it concerns, or it aligns with many, or it has to align with very crucial concepts or crucial important aspects specifically related to patient care. So let's begin with patient safety. Uh, if you look at its heart, this digital leadership, or DILPE as I'm talking, is about protecting the people whom we serve, those whom we serve. In a world where digital tools are integral to diagnosis, treatment, and record maintaining or record keeping, our ability to train health professionals, dentists, doctors, physiotherapists in digitized environments directly influence the clinical outcomes. So we must be careful. Mistakes can easily occur if technologies are misunderstood or misapplied. So the digital literacy we build during training becomes a frontline defense for patient safety. The second aspect is about clinical competence. Healthcare professionals are increasingly required to access, evaluate and apply information rapidly. Now, if you look at this particular competence of the leadership aspects, it gives learners the opportunity to cultivate digital skills along with, in tandem with clinical judgment. So, simulation, virtual training scenarios, e-assessment tools, all these help future, clinicians, future dentists translate theoretical knowledge into safe, effective practice. Now, we must understand this competence is not static. It's very dynamic. It must continuously evolve as the technology advances. Now, the next aspect is, how do you actually make your professional or the future healthcare professional whom you're training? That's a foundational goal, basically, of the digital leadership in health professions education, is the ability of this healthcare professional, or how do you actually nurture him to practice in the digitized environments. We need physicians, nurses, dentists, allied professionals who can leverage all these things, including the EHRs, electronic health records, telemedicine platforms, decision support systems, and AI applications seamlessly. Now, this leadership bridges the traditional training with the digital realities, ensuring that our workforce is prepared for tomorrow's clinics and tomorrow's hospitals. So it is vital to address this. And then comes, how do we actually lead and integrate into the digital competencies? Now, when I say DC, it refers to digital competencies. Leaders in the health professions education must guide this, integrate. So that's why in all our campuses, in all our universities, we must have these digital champions who will lead, who will lead this and guide the integration of digital competencies. I would say not only in curriculum design, as we often say medical educators or dental educators do, no, but across the entire education experience. So it is about embedding digital ethics, privacy, security, as well as practical digital know-how into all aspects of training. So integration transforms digital skills from the add-ons, just add-ons, mere add-ons, into core clinical competencies. So as AI is advancing and actually gaining prominence, we just can't keep it as an add-on stuff. Now, and finally, the reach of Dilpay extends across training, simulation, and assessment. Now, you know that I don't have to tell you how it facilitates robust training modules, immersive simulations, and data driven assessments. Now, these tools allow for tailored feedback, more equitable access, and a sharper focus on measurable outcomes, tangible outcomes, as we often say. So, when you're deploying it thoughtfully, they uplift the entire trajectory of professional growth from student to a seasoned clinician. Now, this is something that just if we were to continue with what could what could be the most important aspects when it comes to specifically in health professions education, medical, dental, and so on. First is the integration of new modalities. So the leadership challenge will be to see that how do we actually integrate this, these innovations genuinely to improve learning. So this is something that you and me have to be very careful about. Many of these innovations, and especially when it is actually being facilitated by commercial interests, you see that it is just not to replace that face-to-face time. It's we have to ask as dental educators, is this genuinely improving learning? Is it providing a learning experience to my students in the classroom and clinics and communities what they ought to learn? Is there, that is the most important aspect, whether it is simulation based or virtual patient encounters or adaptive e-learning modules. That educational value must be highlighted, must be enhanced, it must deepen engagement. Now, when it comes to speaking of skills, probably we move next to the data driven competency assurance to provide evidence based. It is to provide evidence based assurance that our students are meeting the competency standards. So using digital systems, we will track progress, identify gaps. You may say that in competency based learning, ensuring entrustable professional activities, finding individualizing the learning pathways to ensure every trainee develops expertise. So this is just not a technological upgrade, it's a commitment to excellence and patient safety. Now uh, coming to fostering professionalism. Now, digital professionalism is an area that needs to be immediately attended to. We must work on this aspect. Some of our faculty members must take this as their area of research and expertise. As our professional lives will extend into online environment, we must maintain high standards of conduct and integrity. So learners should guide their team. Leaders should guide their team not only in technical proficiency, but in maintaining boundaries, preventing burnout, and upholding patient trust in digital interactions. So, professionalism in the digital age, I would say, will require, especially educators, to be thoughtful about how we communicate, collaborate, and protect privacy. Online conduct is now part of clinical competence. Let's not forget that. Then, coming to bridging the clinical and academic practice. Now, technology should not create a distance between what is taught and what is practice. On the contrary, it should bridge the gap. It must narrow the gap. It is up to the educational leaders to facilitate the collaboration between educators, clinicians, other stakeholders whom we have, to see that it really mirrors the reality. So we must see that the digital tools that we are using in classroom or simulation labs truly reflect the realities of clinical care. This alignment means our graduates are not just prepared for exams, but they are prepared for the real world. With that, let me move on to the modern digital leader or the educational leader. Uh, just a check that I hope you are seeing my slides and hearing me clear. Can just the moderators ensure whether you're hearing me and my slides are fine?
Yes, yes, sir. We are hearing you, and slides are clear.
Thank you so much. So, having laid that foundation, we will now move on to the key competencies of the which is at the heart of the digital leadership. We start with digital acumen. This means understanding not only the potential but the limitations of these emerging technologies, and that will be yours and my role. Industry will bring so many things which you must actually validate in terms of the learning and practice that is expected from a graduate, or from our own students. So this means that technology literacy is foundational. It is for the leaders to evaluate that the tools fit the context and recognize when digital solutions might fall short of what they actually are expected to attain in the educational environment. So it's about making informed choices. Next is the strategic alignment. Technology investments must be driven by strategic plan. And I know you have a good university. I'm talking about Enopoya. So technology investments must be driven by strategic planning, which must be aligned with the institutional goals, the dental school, the medical school, the university as a whole, and the specific learning objectives or outcomes that we have. Now, you must understand that without this alignment, even the most innovative technology can fail to fulfill this purpose. So, if you are actually planning for a big shift, be careful. It must be a part of your strategic planning if it is not. Now, modern digital leaders view technology as a lever for educational growth and transformation, to ensure that every digital initiative supports the broader vision of the university or broader vision of the institution. Any is there anything that you wanted to say? Okay. The next is change management. Change management is another vital skill. How do you actually? I hear some. Please keep muted. So, change management is another vital skill. The digital landscape is evolving quickly, and we know that there will be resistance and uncertainty. Now, as leaders, we are talking about digital leadership today. We must inspire our teams, navigate the fear of change, and we must secure that buy-in that we must have, especially for the digital shifts or transformational skills like communication, empathy, ability to motivate will remain as most important competencies for these leaders, in spite of having a prefix digital. All these foundational skills are important to bring in change, to guide the leaders, guide organizations during disruptions into sustained progress. Finally, ethical stewardship. As digital tools are expanding, they are also bringing responsibilities, especially around the data privacy, about equitable technology access. So, the modern leaders must be stewards of digital citizenship, ensuring that all learners can benefit from digital advances without fear of exclusion, without fear of exploitation. Now, ethical decision making protects both the institution and its stakeholders. So, when you redefine digital leadership in the context of health professions education, specifically dental education, remember that digital acumen, the ability to understand the scope and limits of emerging technologies, strategic alignment, ensuring technology investments serve clear, measurable educational and institutional objectives, change management, leading faculty and students uncertain terrain with evidence-based strategies and communication. Along with that would probably come some element of facilitation, coaching, and mentoring. And finally, ethical stewardship, guaranteeing data privacy, digital citizenship, and equitable access for all. Having gone through that, we will quickly go through the attributes of digital leaders. When you are integrating digital competencies in practice, and we are talking about digital leaders, what are the key attributes or the domains that these digital leaders must have? We are not talking about anyone external or in somebody alien. We are talking about you and me. What roles do we have, or what are the attributes that we must acquire as a part of digital leaders? So you can see that there are three domains that stand out very clearly. There is a social domain, there is a strategic domain, and there is a personal domain. So, the most skillful digital leaders must impactfully integrate these three areas. If you really want to talk about that systemic change I talked to you about, so that's very important. Let's start with the first one, that is the social attributes. So, social intelligence always stands out as the foundation, right? Now, effective leaders, digital leaders, are not only aware of the technological landscape, but are also deeply attuned to the social dynamics and to the emotional cues, as I've written here, to the emotional awareness within their teams. So, this will help us understand the needs and concerns of people whom we are leading, and to create supportive environments that will help us bridge the gap. Now, equally important is diversity promotion. As leaders, our responsibility will go beyond mere tolerance. We must actively shape and champion diversity and inclusive practices in our organizations. Now, for that, we must foster rich dialogue, drive innovation that can create digital innovation solutions that can reflect and serve the complexities that we are in. So, it is very important in this context to celebrate varied perspectives and backgrounds, as we have seen in many other areas. Then comes the third pillar, which is more aligned to the digital leadership, that is networking intelligence. The ability to build and leverage robust professional networks within and beyond our organizations. And that is what actually, if you look, separates good leaders from great ones, right? With digital technology, partnership opportunities have expanded globally, and this particular meeting is the best example for that. So translating technical requirements to relatable language can make collaboration possible across all disciplines. And specifically in the field of interprofessional education where I work, it's very important to see that this influence grows exponentially, and when we build bridges and unite stakeholders around shared goals rather than creating walls. So collaboration possible across all disciplines. So those were the social attributes that uh, are required. Now let's turn our attention to another important aspect, that is about the strategic thinking aspects or strategic attributes essential for long-term success and meaningful transformation. Now, at the core of this strategic attribute is the innovative vision. They must be they. When I say they, I refer to digital leaders, digital academic leaders, or dilpe. Okay, digital leaders must be able to see beyond the horizon, crafting clear long-term strategies. Okay, now it is very. This means just not responding, or not just responding to change, but envisioning what is possible. For example, precision medicine, ethical integration of AI, new approaches that will redefine our fields. So, this is turning challenges into opportunities and positioning organizations to lead rather than to follow. Digital intelligence is equally important. Today's leaders require technical expertise and a powerful command of digital literacy and data fluency. You cannot say that I am an old time person. I will just sit on my chair and decide these things. You decide for me. I will just circulate it. No. Strategic digital leadership is not just about knowing what technology can do. It is about using data and digital tools to inform decisions, optimize processes, drive sustainable progress. So, it's very important in this age that how it enables leaders to cut through the noise and make choices rooted in evidence and insight. And third strategic attribute is adaptability. In environments marked by technological volatility, we call them as VUCA environments, right? Volatility, uncertainty, complex ones. So technological volatility, what in those environments, there must be profound adaptability, right? The leadership styles must be flexible. I can't stick on to one style and say that this is my style, this is, this is the genetic makeup that I actually present to you. No, there must be styles that actually, through which we navigate. We must also remain resilient. We know that resilient leaders thrive amid uncertainty. They can navigate disruption. They reframe setbacks as learning opportunities and maintain focus on a clear long term vision. So, adaptability is what keeps organizations and teams resilient and responsive and ready for whatever the future brings, be it digital or non digital. So, it holds good here as a digital leadership capability. So, these inventive vision, digital intelligence, and adaptability are the pillars that support effective digital leadership. Now, let's turn our attention to another important aspect: personal attributes that drive sustainable change in digital leadership. So, as highlighted in this slide, while expertise and strategy are essential, it is the personal qualities of motivation, role modeling, openness, self awareness, agility, and learning that will truly sustain transformation over time. At the heart is motivation. To complete digital transformation, leaders need a sustained drive that persists through setbacks, challenges, and uncertainty. So, that is what keeps us focused and resilient. Role modeling is more than guidance, right? It's about living the values and behaviors we want to see in others. So when you demonstrate these digital behaviors collaborating virtually, they are setting a powerful standard that others naturally aspire to follow, especially in our own organizations. Openness is equally vital. The digital world thrives on a multitude of perspectives and approaches. Effective leaders create cultures where different ideas are welcomed, and innovation flourishes through diversity. That means openness here would mean listening actively and seeking viewpoints different from our own, ensuring that our transformation efforts are inclusive and robust. Self awareness allows leaders to understand personal strengths and weakness. It fosters genuine growth, we all know about it, and emotional intelligence, obviously, which is crucial for adapting to the fast changing digital environments. When leaders are self aware, they make decisions that align with their values and respond constructively to the feedback. And that is the problem that we often face. So if this self awareness is there, your openness to feedback also is it enhances or improves your openness to the feedback. Agility, as you all know, enables swift adaptation to changing digital landscapes. Leaders must be flexible to new skills and change directions as circumstances evolve. Lastly, learning. Learning rounds out these critical attributes. Effective digital leaders create cultures where mistakes are viewed as opportunities for growth. By embracing lifelong learning, which is the DNA of every educator or must be there in every educator, by embracing lifelong learning, leaders empower their teams to experiment, reflect, and improve, making adaptation a continuous process. With that, I move on to the last aspect of this plenary or this talk. Some of you are familiar with this, the six pillars for digital transformation of education put forward by UNESCO. Surrounding, if you look at this, at the very center is data and evidence. Modern digital leaders understand that every transformational step must be grounded in reliable information and measurable outcomes. Surrounding this pillar is six interconnected domains, as you see here. Connectivity and infrastructure provides the technological backbone. So digital leaders must advocate for equitable access. Content and solutions is another one, as you see here. Content and solutions drive learning experiences. So as leaders, we must guide the adoption and development of high quality digital curricula. So whether you are translating it into public health dentistry, say I'm just giving you an example, and then you are going to make content related to it, must be of high quality and resources that are relevant, engaging, and adaptable to the diverse learners. It must appeal. So the task is to ensure that they genuinely enhance the outcomes. The third one, as you see here, is cost and sustainability to remind us that transformation must be economically viable in the long term. So universities and institutions cannot take up something that is going to be a burden. So it must be with a keen eye on resources. Visionary leaders must invest in the solutions. Purpose and principles anchor every change in the shared values and clear goals. It is not about technological progress. Let's be very clear about it. It's about aligning every step with the mission, ethics, and aspirations of our institutions. Right? Leaders articulate a vision that inspires trust, and it guides the action and the culture and it shapes the culture, I would say, of the digital education. Then comes coordination and leadership. These are the connective tissues, right? These are the connective tissues that makes all other pillars work in harmony. So effective digital leaders will empower teams, they will break down silos, foster collaboration between stakeholders, which include administrators, educators, developers, policymakers. So their skill lies in mobilizing the talent and resources. Finally, capacity and culture. Capacity and culture highlights the importance of developing people as much as we develop the technical platforms. The most impactful digital leaders understand that innovation thrives only when educators and learners are enabled, supported, and inspired. So they champion professional development, they cultivate digital literacy and and will nurture a culture of curiosity and resilience. So it's very interesting to see that how UNESCO has put this, but it has become very useful now, especially in the context of the digital transformation that is happening, and obviously about when you talk about leaders and the role in the digital transformation. Now, when it comes to governance, I will just touch some of the important aspects that we ought to look as leaders or digital leaders in health professions education. So the first one obviously is with the vision and goals. It comes as a part of governance, a clear long-term vision driving meaningful digital transformation. So if you don't have it, the first step perhaps is to create a vision like that. And leaders must communicate where they want their institutions to go. It will set this vision, sets the direction. Then comes the regulatory aspects, governance and regulations by itself. Robust structures are required to ensure that digital tools are used responsibly and effectively. So this means not only having policies in place, but also building systems that holds everyone accountable. So it's about security, privacy, equity, and efficacy, which all depend on thoughtful governance. It protects stakeholders and ensures every investment in technology delivers on its intended promise. Change management is another vital piece. We already talked about it. Participatory approaches are required in universities like what we have, right? Whether it is in Upoya, Manipal, or any for that matter, any universities that we have, participatory approaches are necessary to guide implementation because successful change is not imposed; it is co-created. Then comes evidence-informed decisions. Guessing is a luxury we cannot afford here. You must use the data-driven approaches to guide investments and improvements. So that's a bit about governance and coordination. Now, you must also understand that when you are building a capacity for, building capacity and culture, it's about creating it's about creating human capital requirements that are essential for digital transformations. So as you see here, it's very important to have future ready skills that will equip our students and faculty with advanced skills, and to play on competencies, equally on mindsets. How do we actually develop technical and digital literacies? How do we foster innovation? So the capacity and culture pillar that we actually we actually integrate into these digital leadership competencies or digital leadership aspects will address human capital requirements of transformation, which will focus on digital literacies, which must focus on competencies, and most importantly, it must be a human centered approach. It must focus on equity, inclusion, and sustainability. It must emphasize on ethical, safe, and effective use of technology. So building capacity and culture requires a holistic approach that addresses technical skills, mindsets, and ethical considerations. I move on to something that is, you know, very familiar in the technical field. It's about talking about safe sandbox environments. uh, it's very essential for the digital leadership or academic leadership in the evolving digital landscape to have protected space where students, educators, and institutions can try new digital approaches and technologies without a fear of negative repercussion. I know that you have a good incubation center. That's only one part of it, but more than that, when it comes to digital leaders, they play a pivotal role in establishing these environments through smart policy and strategic stewardship. We must have policies. Another key strategy is, they must craft clear guidelines. Leaders must craft clear guidelines that protect both students and faculty as they engage in this digital health experimentation. So it's also about actually innovation, scholarship, and the research, linked to all this. So pairing digital experimentation with ethical training is also crucial. Leaders must ensure that experiential learning is supported by strong foundational knowledge of ethics and professional conduct. Most importantly is the culture of learning from errors. Cultures where mistakes are not seen as failures, but as opportunities to grow, refining approaches, and building resilience. So, the concept of the safe sandbox thrives when experimentation is embraced and feedback is used constructively, driving continuous improvement. Protected environment. So, this is something that digital leaders must ensure. The message is clear that safe sandboxes are more than just physical or digital spaces. They are policy driven frameworks created by digital leaders who understand the balance between innovation and risk management. Finally, implementation strategies, when it comes to the implementation and how do we overcome barriers. So the journey to this digital transformation is both exciting and challenging. So this slide summarizes this dual focus every digital leader must embrace: implementing effective strategies and while overcoming substantial barriers. We see a power of thoughtful implementation strategies to your left. They are champions of proactive change management. They work actively to learn stakeholder buy-in, communicating the value of digital transformation, embedding digital, changes, data-driven decisions, which we have already talked about, and participatory approaches, which again have been mentioned. Then comes barriers. Of course, the implementation strategies are something that we have listed. Barriers will be systemic, resource and skill gaps, and cultural resistance, right? So we saw that the systemic barriers that can come from institutions and organizations have to be dealt with appropriately. We must identify it and address, otherwise we are not going to make any progress when it comes to that. Then comes the resource limitations. In terms to resource limitations can challenge us to think creatively, actually, finding new ways to fund, support, and sustain digital initiatives. So, that puts us into the mode of, working for fundings, grants, and, acquiring connections or networking to see that, or lobbying to see that how do we actually get rid of the systemic barriers, including resource limitation. Skill gaps remain one of the greatest obstacles. We must prioritize targeted training and continuous development activities. By closing this gap, we can ensure that everyone is equipped to thrive in the digital environment. Cultural resistance can be subtle, it is, but very powerful. Some of us have experienced this in our organizations. Cultural resistance, successful digital leaders foster a culture that values innovation and continuous learning. So, turning skepticism into curiosity and reluctance into readiness. So, that is about cultural resistance, which fosters a culture that embraces innovation and continuous learning. Well, I just, as someone who works closely with accreditation agencies and, including World Federation for Medical Education, I just thought that it may be interesting to talk a little bit about how it also actually leverage accreditation standards. It's very important, especially in the context of digital leaders, because you will see that it's the same leaders who may be actually asked to lead these accreditation. So digital leaders must ensure that accreditation standards mandate the regular evaluation of administrative and teaching staff performance, using results to actively improve and quality control mechanisms. So they must demand the highest standards of training. Okay. So you will see that the digital leaders, as our role is, have to ensure that these processes will be coming as standards, as some of you probably know, as a part of quality, must demand the highest standards of training, curriculum alignment, and ongoing evaluation. Now, by standardizing the quality of training programs, we guarantee that every learner receives a robust preparation for digital challenges. Now, aligning curricula with population needs is very important, especially in health professions, medical, dental. We must align our curricula with the needs of the population, our programs to meet the real world demands, and adapt responsibly as healthcare evolves. So these standards linked with the digital literacy that we are talking about becomes a very important aspect a digital leader must be aware about and work towards it. And moreover, accreditation must mandate a rigorous performance evaluation, not just for the learners but also for faculty and administrative systems. Now, this regular review is what fuels improvement, which will close the gap, which will raise the benchmark for digital competence across institutions. In conclusion, I would say accreditation is a strategic lever. When aligned with digital transformation, it shapes organizations for excellence and future readiness. And finally, do not forget the ethical angle to it. It's very important. Ethical leadership is the cornerstone of meaningful digital transformations. And it convey, as I'm trying to convey here, it's the ethical mandate required for every digital leader. It's very important. As we accelerate the adoption of technology in healthcare and education, we must never lose sight of these two essential priorities, the health equity and the data justice. To uphold health equity, digital leaders must ensure the benefits of transformation are accessible to all, not just a privileged few. Equally vital is the principle of data justice. With exponential growth in digital data, leaders are called to ensure fair and equitable practices. So, ethical data stewardship builds public confidence and supports sustainable transformation. The caution is clear: without ethical leadership, digital transformation risks ethical atrophy, a decline that can exacerbate health inequities and erode public trust. As guardians of this transformation, digital leaders must embed ethics in every decision, safeguarding human dignity, trust, and justice at every step. So, ladies and gentlemen, as we draw this address to a close, we must reflect on some essential, facts. The future of healthcare is inseparable from digital leadership. As you see, the measurable impacts which enhance patient safety, improve treatment efficiency or efficacy, and optimize clinical efficiency are not just abstract promises. They are evidence based outcomes directly resulting from the visionary leadership that embraces technology, values data, and prioritizes continual learning. Digital leadership is a necessity. Leaders today shape system where digital innovations translate into real positive changes in patient care. So it is very important. Enhanced digital integration, if it yields better treatment outcomes, this is what we have seen. It showcases the tangible power of strategic leadership. And this will help our entire health system run more efficiently, resources being allocated more judiciously, care delivery is streamlined, and outcomes are stronger. Yes, it's not only about technology. As Alvin Toffler reminded us, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot unlearn and relearn. So, the most important aspect that we would like to emphasize here is to create or to have a leadership, digital leadership in our own institutions and organizations, right, who can integrate new modalities, who can actually take care of data-driven competency assurance, who will foster digital professionalism, and most importantly, who will bridge clinical and academic practice. The leaders must facilitate collaboration between IT departments, educators, practicing clinicians to ensure that technology being taught in the classroom mirrors the reality of the modern practice. Thank you so much for a very patient listening.
Thank you, sir, for your enlightening session. The forum is now open for discussion.
Thank you, Dr. Siraj sir, for enlightening us how this digital health education can transform the education in an overall sense, and how we can bridge the traditional education with this blended education. Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Siraj, again. It's been a pleasure to have you on this platform. And I think you have very eloquently emphasized the role of digital leadership in the present times. And we do realize that these digital assets cannot be luxuries anymore. And we are left with no other option other than to simply embrace these assets. And of course, in a very ethical and strategic manner, this needs to be embedded into the fabric of academic leadership here. So thank you so much, sir, for your talk on this topic. Are there any questions to receive from the participants?
There are no in-call messages.
I think, yeah. So thank you once again, sir, for your time and involvement. Change is the only thing which is constant, and I think we should just simply accept the fact. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Rajesh. Thank
Yeah.
you, all others. Thank you, Dr. Imran, for and all organizers for inviting me. And have a good day. Thank you.
Sir,
Thank you, sir.
sir,
Thank you.
I request you to accept the certificate, sir. E-certificate. Thank you so much, sir, for your enlightening talk.
Thank you.
It will be emailed
Thank
to
you.
you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir.
Don't worry. I know all these people who have signed on this
Yes, sir.
certificate.
Yes, sir.
So if I don't get, I will go after them.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
worry.
Thank you to our moderators also, Rajesh sir and Jagdish Chandra sir. Thank you so much. Thank you all.
Thank you.